This is the evening news for Thursday, February 6, 2014. I'm Michael Young. Thanks for joining us. Making the headlines tonight. Police could be charged for Hardin's assault tomorrow. Rohi tells police government wants results for investments in the fight against crime. GNBA to issue licenses outside of Georgetown. Savannah residents want deplorable roads, bridges fixed. Unqualified personnel in the construction sector increasing, and no word forthcoming on the Walter Rodney Commission. Now for the news in detail. Police Commissioner Leroy Brummel today told reporters that charges can be expected to be instituted against officers in the Colwyn Hardin saga as soon as tomorrow. Here are more details in this report.
Months after Colwyn Hardin alleged that he was beaten and raped with a police baton, action is finally being taken, and the perpetrators of the objectionable acts may find themselves before the courts tomorrow. Top cop Leroy Brummel today said that officers involved may face charges and disciplinary actions.
We were exonerated from that baton business, you know it.
You recommended disciplinary action against some of your ranks and charges against two of your ranks. You want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, you know, I'm not a director of public prosecution. When I had a look, when I got the facts, that's what I came to, that some ranks will be disciplined and the same thing will work. And some ranks will probably got to go to court or something.
How soon can we see those ranks going to the court?
Well, as long as we get it. Well, if we get it this afternoon, I got tomorrow. You don't waste time with these things. You know that.
His statement comes on the heels of the report from the chairman of the Police Complaints Authority, Justice Cecil Kennard. Kennard said there is no evidence that Hardin was baton raped.
He was in fact assaulted by two members of the force who were then stationed at the Mary police station, and I've recommended criminal charges against those two ranks. I prefer at this stage not to disclose their names, because this file has to go to the DPP for her to review the matter and to decide ultimately whether she's going to act on my recommendation or not. Basically, those charges relate to neglect of duty, and one of which is failure of the police to take the injured man to the hospital at an early stage.
He further disclosed that the absence of a medical report had some significant effect on the investigation.
At an early stage, we would have been able to have medical evidence whether he was in fact sodomized. But because he was not examined at early stage, and he was only seen subsequently at a public hospital, there's room in my mind for doubt in relation to whether that in fact took place. As a matter of fact, there's no direct evidence coming from Hardin or anyone that they actually saw, or Hardin is saying that he was sodomized. Hardin's evidence, to the best of my recollection, reveals that he was beaten into, that is his evidence, he was beaten into unconsciousness by certain ranks. When he regained consciousness, he saw one of the ranks against whom I've recommended criminal charge with a baton near to him.
In January, Hardin's story attracted public outrage when it came to the fore.
After clambering to the roof of the Consumer Co-op Society in an effort to register his frustration with the justice system, the teen that was allegedly sodomized may soon get justice, as the matter is now engaging the attention of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Here are more details in this report.
Top cop Leroy Brummel today told reporters that the teenager's file is with the Director of Public Prosecutions for advice before any action is taken on the part of the force.
The file has gone to the DPP also, but I must mention that the answers in here did not identify any of the police ranks. Right? But we're still continuing doing what we have to do, but I think the file has gone for some advice.
You still remain on arrest?
The ranks here are open arrest, but still at headquarters. I'm keeping them in there.
His statement comes following investigations leveled against officers at the Stabroek outpost last Monday. The teenager accused 3 ranks at the outpost of sodomizing him. After he felt that the justice system has failed him, the youth ventured to a popular media house with the hope of relating his story. Instead, when he got there, he proceeded to climb the roof of the media house, threatening to jump off the roof. The teenager was subsequently apprehended and taken into police custody. While there, police officials conducted ID parades, but the youngster failed to identify his aggressors. This comes on the heels of the Colwyn Harding saga.
After months of anticipation, training for Guyana's first SWAT unit was launched today by senior members of the security sector. More details in this story.
The first batch of the training program contains 27 participants who will form part of the country's first Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT unit. The training program was launched on Thursday at the Police Officers Training Center. Addressing the gathering of senior police ranks, heads of related security agencies, and other stakeholders, Home Affairs Minister Clement Roy said that the establishment of this SWAT team will strengthen the technical capacity of the Guyana Police Force. However, he noted that this came after much controversy surrounding its importance, but government thought that it is necessary as part of the modernization of the police force.
Beefing up security for the administration to which I belong is an utmost priority. This SWAT team, as far as I'm aware, is not being established to oppress and suppress members of the public. It has not been established to oppress and suppress members of the opposition, people who are opposed to the government. It has not been established to be used as a political tool to accomplish political objectives. It has been established, both as the Commissioner and Mr. Hayes said, to fulfill certain professional responsibilities based on established SOPs.
The implementation of the SWAT unit is a collaborative effort between the government of Ghana and the U.S.-based security and justice reform consultancy firm, the Emergency Group. Director of Tech, Ambassador Dennis Hayes, said that with a well-qualified SWAT team, any society is better protected.
This is a fine group of officers. Guyana can be proud of these men and the work that they're doing, and I think that they will have a very, very positive impact on the police force and society as we go forward. This is not a short-term operation. It's a process that goes on and really never stops. Training never stops. The organizational aspects of this never stop. But it is a commitment, and it's one that I think will pay great dividends.
Meanwhile, Police Commissioner Leroy Bromwell said SWAT units have evolved the art of crime fighting around the world, and so there is no less expectation of this team.
The government of Guyana saw training as pivotal and thus collated with the tech group to formalize training as part of the SOPs that encompass the Guyana Police Force. Sporadic situations emerging, if not managed effectively, can evolve into acts of terrorism. As such, the SWAT team is a vital component to our organizational structure.
The government and the tech team signed a contract last October, finalizing the agreement for the training and establishment of the SWAT team.
Thanks, Rodney. Residents in Sophia have expressed their frustration with the quality of road works being done in that community. Here are details in this story.
The Evening News yesterday visited Sophia, where some residents expressed their dissatisfaction with their roads and infrastructure in the community. They noted that the roads are an absolute disgrace. The Beefield Sophia residents believe that the poor state of the roads has contributed directly to robberies and high levels of crime in the community and its surrounding environment.
It's affecting you children a lot because they got to go right away wrong where this is a shortcut. They used to pass the assignment of the character. Even to the teachers, they come from school, they come from the bank, they use the shortcut and they go down to the school. But no, they can't do it.
Coming across the bridge there. While it's coming, stump me too and fall down. We need something better than we got here.
One resident explained that the reconstruction of one of the main access bridges, which was started since 2012, is yet to be completed.
This bridge, they have started doing this bridge since 2012, October. It was November? October, November. It was to take 3 months. This is 2014. Now, one thing. This bridge was built by the people in the community, okay? Now, when they decide to do this bridge, they not consult anybody in the community. They just come and they start, just like that. I'm saying this because, okay, they had materials there. We have other bridges linking to Beefield and other fields. We could have used those very materials to make proper bridges. Right. Number two, this bridge here, people used to come from way up the east because we have to Borbees, going to Temeri, and they would access the fire to get their way. Because of this bridge now, it's a big hold back on everything.
They are calling on the relevant authorities to do as they are mandated.
It's been like 2 years now.
Yeah, since 2011, no?
Yeah, 2012 we've been suffering a whole lot. The road in a deplorable state. We can't access. We have to go all the way for folks around this side in Gaia Park. Have to go all the way to Dennis Street. And I'd appeal to the government or whoever responsible to take necessary action. It's about time. You know, we've been suffering a whole lot. The bridge, we can't access it. On no side, we run the risk of coming in here at night through this treacherous road. I don't know which side you're coming from. The same side? So how was it? How was the trip? Exactly. So that's all I want to say. I hope we can get some action before election.
Over time, scores of residents have protested the state of the roads in Sophia, alleging that they are being neglected by the central government. They have also decried the poor quality of works undertaken on the road network there and the connecting bridges between fields.
Home Affairs Minister Clement Rohi today told a group of police officers that the government has invested a lot of money in the Guyana Police Force. As such, it needs to see results reflecting its investments. We're joined by Vanu Manichan.
Minister Rohi said that government is not comfortable with the current crime level, especially with serious crimes involving the use of firearms.
The crime rate must be brought down, especially in light of the fact that so many resources are being placed at the disposal of the Guyana Police Force. There must be no comfort level. There must be no comfort zone having regard to the amount of serious crimes that are committed on the national territory of our country. The only comfort zone that we can tolerate and that we should tolerate is that zone where the citizens of Guyana are comfortable.
The minister noted that government does not want any amount of crime statistics, but needs results and value for the money it has invested in the police force. Rohi went on to say that the force has been equipped with sufficient tools to yield results which will benefit citizens of Guyana.
The Ministry of Home Affairs has made available to the Guyana Police Force equipment, including specialized equipment for fingerprints, crime scenes intelligence, ballistic, narcotic branch, photographic and writing sections to the tune of $2 billion. In respect of land and water transport, the government has provided motor cars, Land Rovers, trucks, double cab pickups, armored vehicles, fiberglass boats, motorcycles, a water cannon, mobile police stations, a communication vehicle, all-terrain vehicles, patrol boats, and a walk boat that is soon to arrive in Guyana, all to the tune of $1.2 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not trifling figures. These are huge investments that the government has made in the Guyana Police Force.
In addition, he noted that investments were made in training, technology, and intelligence, among other areas. According to the minister, all of these investments would be pointless if the country's crime rate does not drop. Rohi's comments came at a time when the crime level continues to climb. In 2013, there was a 5% increase in serious crimes for the period January to November. 130 murders were recorded up to November, while some 1,038 cases of armed robberies were reported for the same period. Of the latter figure, there was a 6% increase in the number of armed robberies involving the use of firearms. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manik-chan.
The Ghana National Broadcasting Authority, GNBA, plans to look at new applications for 2014 and could move to issue licenses to businesses operating outside of Georgetown. Samuel Suknandan filed this report.
Chairperson of the GNBA, Bibi Shadiq, said out of the 52 new applications received, the board has decided to look at issuing licenses to businesses operating outside of Georgetown or for areas where there's no service. Shadiq told this newscast in an interview that the board will also be looking at the applications from religious organizations and will be working closely with them to ensure that licenses are issued equally.
We wanted to look at applications that are looking to give service where there is no service. So we would be more likely to, to grant an application because outside of Georgetown, you have availability of spectrum.
In addition to that, Shadiq said that GNBA will also take into consideration applications which have included in their business plan to purchase digital equipment instead of analog, especially since Ghana will soon be moving in that direction. Besides this, the GNBA head noted that there are several TV, radio and cable channels that have not yet paid all their dues and were not granted licenses to operate in 2013. These entities will therefore be sanctioned.
The others who are already licensed for 2013 will, very shortly, before the end of the month, I'm hoping, receive, because we are in the process of we have asked for their financials for 2012. So that we can work out the license fee for 2014. Some have sent in their financials. We still have some others. So, we're going to start sending out letters of approval for license for 2014.
The work of the GNBA is guided under the new Broadcast Act. For the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknandan.
Thanks, Samuel. The construction sector is faced with many challenges, moving from the shortages of crucial material to human resources. But the Public Works Ministry's Chief Works Officer, Jeffrey Vaughan, said topping the list is the incompetence of contractors and personnel within the sector. Here are details in this Svetlana Marshall report.
Speaking at the Public Works Ministry's 4th Engineering Conference today, the Chief Works Officer, Jeffrey Vaughan, said for the last 5 years, only a few national contractors have been able to capitalize on projects funded by international agencies such as the Inter-American Development Bank and the World Bank due to an issue of competence. Vaughan said the situation is indeed worrying.
National construction companies lack the technical and managerial capacity to understand most of the foreign-funded projects. That's a fact. Whether we like it or not, it is a fact. Too often times, we find lots of mistakes in understanding what is needed when it comes to our foreign-funded projects. It is daunting to state that there have been a shift in the construction sector where we're finding lots of persons who are not qualified are actually managing projects.
According to the Chief Works Officer, this problem stems from the education system. It was explained that at the level of the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, only a few are passing science subjects critical to the engineering field. This is also evident at the technical institutes. Turning his attention to the University of Ghana, he said the situation is even more worrying.
In reviewing reports from the University of Guyana Faculty of Technology, for the period 2009 to 2013, shows that 2,900 students enrolled for the engineering program. from a total enrollment of 31,090. It's a figure that we have to look at. This represents 9.3% of the university population for that 5 years period. How do we supply our construction sector with engineers, with clerk of works, with technicians, with supervisors, when we have such a meager figure?
In addition to the major shortfall in qualified persons for the construction sector, the Chief Works Officer said shortage of materials such as stone and zinc remain an issue. He said greater public partnership ventures are needed to address the problems facing the sector. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Swatlana Marshall.
This is the Evening News. More news on the other side of the break. Welcome back. You're tuned to TVG Channel 28, and this is the Evening News. A man accused of murder made another court appearance today before the Chief Magistrate Priya Bahari. Randy Jagdeo, 28, of Lot 159 3rd Street, Alexander Village, Georgetown, is accused of murdering Kirk Davis on September 3, 2013 at Lot 327th Street, Eccles, East Bank, Demerara. It is alleged that the defendant shot the biker several times about his body because he suspected the deceased was having an affair with his wife. Once more, Jagdeo appeared calm as the charges were read to him. The defendant was not allowed to plead to the charges. Ranks of the Ghana Police Force testified in the matter, stating how they went about their investigation and the evidence they received. Due to the absence of other witnesses, the case was adjourned further until February 10 at 10 hours. The Working People's Alliance is still awaiting action from the People's Progressive Party Civic Administration with regards to the establishment of the Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry, and is expressing reservations on commenting on the issue until the commission has been set up and is made public. Alexis Rodney reports.
Working People's Alliance member Dr. Rupert Rupnarine, when contacted by this newscast, said that since the decision was made public by President Donald Ramotar and People's Progressive Party's General Secretary Clement Rohi, the WPA is still to hear from the party or the government. There have been numerous calls by sections of the public and other organizations for the establishment of an inquiry commission to seek the truth surrounding the death of the late political activist and scholar who was killed when a bomb exploded while he sat in his car outside the Georgetown prison some 33 years ago. President Donald Ramotar first made the announcement last year at a Guyanese gathering in New York. When this newscast contacted Attorney General Anil Nandlal yesterday, he said he was at that time trying to make contact with President Ramotar on the issue. When contacted again, Nandlal said that the head of state will soon make an announcement on the issue. This announcement, according to the minister, should have occurred between yesterday and today. Up to the time of the filing of this report, no announcement was made. Former educator Rashley Jackson, in a letter to the Starbrook News today, Thursday, January 6, has also joined forces with others calling for a speedy establishment of the commission. According to the letter, Rashley said that he supports the call made by PPP's General Secretary Clement Rohi to, and I quote, move expeditiously to establish the Commission of Inquiry, unquote. In 2005, the National Assembly had adopted a motion allowing the setting up of the commission. Rodney's brother, Donald, who suffered injuries during the explosion, claimed that former Guyana Defense Force electronics expert Sergeant Gregory Smith had given the politician the bomb that killed him. It was alleged that Smith planted the bomb in a walkie-talkie and had given it to Rodney. Smith died a few years ago in neighboring Suriname. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
Thanks, Alexis. You'll now hear that a man appeared in court today before the Chief Magistrate, Priya Bahari, charged with assault on Kumar Autar, which occurred at the Stabrook Market Square, Central Georgetown on January 21. Ken Beckles, who is a contractor by profession, was charged with assault after Autar refused to give him $100 when he asked him. Beckles allegedly then broke a bottle and dealt the man several stab wounds about his body. Prosecutor Michael Grant had no objections to bail being granted to the defendant when asked by the Chief Magistrate Priya Bihari. Bail was subsequently granted in the sum of $125,000. The defendant is expected to make another court appearance on March 6, 2014. Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport Dr. Frank Anthony said that the ministry is accepting input as the drafting process for the country's national youth policy continues. Here are details from Natasha Aziz.
So we are not trying to exclude anyone. On the other hand, we are trying to include as many ideas, many views as possible. And political parties are still welcome to submit to us because we are at draft number 2.
Dr. Anthony's response comes after opposition politicians expressed concerns over the process and the fact that they have not had an opportunity to participate fully. The minister, in his defense, pointed out that his ministry sent letters for the participation of all political parties.
We did send letters to all the political parties for their participation. We sent to the APNU. We received a letter from the APNU saying to us that the time frame that we were operating with was too short, and because of that they would not be able to make a submission.
The culture minister, however, noted that the leader of the Youth Coalition for Transformation, YCT, German Grant, was a member of the steering committee and contributed to the drafting of the policy. The youth minister explained that his ministry is not trying to exclude anyone, but rather to include as many ideas and views as possible. The minister disclosed that a consultant is currently working on the documentation and the policy is expected to be completed by the first quarter of 2014. For the Evening News, Natasha Aziz.
Students attending the University of Guyana's Berbice campus may have to wait a while longer for a director since there will be no appointment anytime soon. Alexis Rodney reports.
Members of the private sector and students of the university's Port Morant Quarantine campus have been lobbying to have former director Professor Daisel Samad reinstated. However, according to information received from the university's registrar's office at Turkine, interviews are still to be held for the post, which has been vacant since July last year. Tension has been brewing over the last couple of months as students and members of the public questioned the reason why the post has not yet been filled, particularly by Professor Samad, who had reapplied. A delegation headed by student Shazina Sataya had late last year met with President Donald Ramotar and Education Minister Priya Manikchan with a petition signed by over 5,000 persons seeking to have the professor reinstated. According to Sataya, President Ramotar had advised that Professor Samad reapply for the post, noting that he will be given a fair chance. Nothing has been done since. Other sources revealed that operations at the campus have been crumbling over the last couple of months. This newscast understands that the institution's internet was recently disconnected, a situation that would have never seen the light of day had Professor Samad been there. There has also been a decline in publications at the university, the source said. Professor Samad, when contacted by this newscast recently, said that he wished not to comment on the issue, but confirmed that he did reapply. Last July, Professor Samad handed in his resignation, citing his inability to work under the strenuous circumstances. Samad had been seeking to have independence from the Turkine campus. In his resignation letter to Pro-Chancellor Dr. Prem Mizir and the UG Council dated July 4, 2013, he stated that relations between him and the new Vice-Chancellor, Professor Jacob Obadai, as well as with the deadweight Turkine campus, had become strained and distant over the past weeks. He had also accused Turkine of dictating the day-to-day running of the Berbice campus. For the evening news, I'm Alexis Rodney.
This is the evening news. More news after these messages. Welcome back. You're tuned to the evening news. There was a 5% countrywide decrease in fire calls received by the Ghana Fire Service in 2013 as against 2012, as the service received 1,776 calls in 2013 as against 1,979 received in 2012. The Fire Chief Marlon Gentle said that of the calls received in 2013, 166 were from private dwellings against 157 in 2012. And of the 166 dwellings, 111 were completely destroyed, 22 severely damaged, and 33 slightly damaged. In 2012, 89 private dwellings were completely destroyed as a result of fire, 23 severely damaged, and 45 slightly damaged. There was therefore an 11% rise in 2013 as against 2012 in the number of private dwellings destroyed by fires. Gentle noted that this is a clear indication that the level of fire consciousness needs to be greater with regards to private buildings. He said that the service's investigation has indicated that most of the fires to these buildings could have been prevented had persons just taken the right approach to the fire safety issue. Most of the private buildings that were destroyed, their causes range from faulty electrical wires, carelessness, children playing with matches, and malicious setting or acts of arson. There were also instances of internal electrical problems stemming from the illegal acquisition of electricity. The National School of Music has benefited from $18,000 to aid in the resuscitation of masquerade and steel band art forms. We're joined by Natasha Aziz, who has details in this story.
The initiative of empowering youths to develop a better understanding and appreciation of the dying art forms of masquerade and steel band was undertaken by the National School of Music. Head of the National School of Dance, Linda Griffith, who choreographed the masquerade movements for the manuals and DVDs, remarked that a lot of Guyanese youths are not aware of the history and development of this unique art form.
What we have recognized over the years that as they have grown older, they have not really been passing it down to the younger persons. So our minister, who is always interested in what we're doing, keeps urging us along to do something. So we took the initiative, and along with help from UNESCO, we have been able to work with the masquerade fraternity and produce this manual and the DVD.
Secretary General for Guyana National Commission for UNESCO, Inji Natu, explained that both art forms have had a long and rich existence in the Guyanese society and is a unique part of the cultural heritage.
Research has shown that one of the main reasons for this decline is the lack of transition of information, skills, and practical knowledge from seniors involved in the art form to youths in the society.
Speaking at the simple ceremony was Culture Minister Dr. Frank Anthony, who reiterated the importance of such unique cultural traditions.
Every country in the world, they can define themselves by the culture that they have. What would define us as Guyanese? It is our culture, it is our traditions. And if we allow them to be extinguished, then we will lose that identity. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about things like masquerade bands and trying to preserve this art form. It is something that is deeper than what meets the eye. And therefore, as a nation, we cannot afford for these things to disappear because we'll be losing part of ourselves.
Beneficiaries of the initiative were selected from regions 2, 3, 4, and 10. The project was also ensured gender inclusiveness as 40% of the participants were female. For the evening news, Natasha Aziz.
The National Association of Agricultural, Commercial and Industrial Employees, NACI, plans to start early wage negotiations with the Ghana Power and Light Company and to have a few issues resolved. Samuel Suknandan has more details in this story.
General Secretary of NACI Kenneth Joseph said that his union will be joining forces with the Ghana Public Service Union, GPSU, to start wage negotiations with the Ghana Power and Light Inc. GPL very soon. Joseph told his newscast that NACI plans to tackle this issue from early to ensure that workers receive the best benefits after negotiations with the power company. He said for too long negotiations have been put back to the latter part of each year.
Our members are complaining that they would have to wait every year until the last of the year to be paid for the first of the year. Because remember, these increases are from the first. Yeah. And they would have done more with the money if they'd been given the money early in the year, instead of waiting for this lump sum at Christmas to buy those blinds and chairs and so on. So we decided at negotiations this year we will start together with the GPSU and let it go from there.
The NACI General Secretary said that his union was given 6 weeks to deliberate on proposals which GPL had counter-proposed but decided to accept an across-the-board increase for all of its members. Joseph said given this fact, the union plans to go back to the tables to ensure that they can fine-tune the proposal to enable workers to receive a good package before year end.
We would like to start negotiations as soon as the budget is completed. We don't even want to wait until it's debated. We want to, as soon as it's presented to Parliament, we can use information from finance to bounce off.
NACI and GPL have had constant battle over wage negotiations and other human resources matter. The union has blamed GPL for placing workers' concerns at the back burner, trying to remove its members and placing them as contract workers. NACI, which represents approximately 700 senior and junior staff at GPL, will be joining GPSU, which represents senior and junior managers at GPL, to start the wage negotiations soon instead of later this year. For the evening news, I'm Samuel Suknandan.
Construction of the $22.6 million extension to the Ghana Power and Light Incorporated Transmission and Distribution Network at number 76 Housing Scheme, currently in Region 6, is expected to be completed and energized by February 7, 2014. On completion of the 9 kilometers of primary and secondary network, electricity will be available to 300 house lots that make up this scheme, benefiting approximately 1,230 residents. The project was funded by the Central Housing and Planning Authority, the Ministry of Housing, and executed by Cummins Electrical to meet GPL's construction standards. Network design and the verification of construction standards were done by GPL engineers. Construction, which started in June 2013, was delayed due to the late delivery by the supplier of critical line hardware and a shortage of acceptable wallable poles. Residents who now wish to apply for the service can collect application forms from GPL's commercial offices at Corriverton and Chesney, West Coast Berbice, or online at www.gplinc.com. Do stay with us. Your Sportcast is next. Welcome back. It's now time for a look at what's happening in the world of sport. But first, the headlines. Works on warm-up pool moving ahead. Jumbo Jet horse race meet confirmed for February 16 and match 8 in the Nagiko Super 50 abandoned due to rain. Now for the news in detail. Works in the warm-up pool for the National Aquatic Center are moving along at a reasonable pace as the contractors are currently working on land fillings at the Linyandal site. More details in this story.
Lately, many reports have surfaced of the pool having cracks in its foundation and collapsing due to the current warm-up pool, which is under construction. However, when this newscast visited the site yesterday, it was in excellent working condition. The only problem discovered was a sunken sidewalk attached to the side of the pool house. According to the administrator of the pool, Abraham Watson, the situation with the sidewalk was expected by the contractors because of the hole dug for the 25 meters warm-up pool. Meanwhile, 10 workers will be added to the task force to finish the foundation of the warm-up pool in time for its 6-month deadline, which should be sometime next month. Further, the 25-meter pool will be installed by internationally renowned Murta Pools.
The Jumbo Jet Racing Stable and Business Establishment rescheduled horse race meet has been confirmed for February 16 at the Port Moran Turf Club, according to coordinator Chandu Ramkisoon. Rajiv Bisnot reports.
The meet was originally scheduled for December 28 last, but persistent rainfall which swept most of the coastal plain had left the Port Morant Turf Club facility underwater, giving authorities no alternative but to postpone the event. However, organizers have made several changes from the original program, with the program now being reduced to a 7-race meet. Another change to the program is the A-class event, which has been replaced by the D1 and lower as a feature matchup on the day. The prize money for the winner of that event has been reduced to $1 million. That race will now see the horses racing over 1,600 meters. Other races billed for the day are the 3- and 4-year-old races for horses bred and born in Guyana and the West Indies, the E1 and G1 and lower races. There are also a race each for the I and lower and the J and lower animals. The organizers have also added a substantial amount of cash and other attractions to the day's activities that total over $11 million in cash and trophies. Registration for the race meet closes next Tuesday, and according to organizers, no late entries will be accepted. The race is being conducted under the rules of the Guyana Horse Racing Authority. Race time is 12:30 hours.
Reinforced an abandonment of Match 8 in the Nagigo Super 50 between Barbados and the combined campuses and colleges. It would have been the second match at Shaw Park in Tobago, a day after Trinidad and Tobago defeated the Leeward Islands by 5 wickets. Rain greeted both teams at the venue early on Wednesday morning. There were periods when it looked like a short game would be possible, but that was curtailed by further heavy rainfall in the afternoon. Just after 1:30 p.m. local time, 12:30 p.m. Jamaica time, the umpires decided that the field would not be ready and called off the match. The abandonment means both teams share 2 points each. Barbados moved further at the top of Zone B on 7 points, while the combined campuses and colleges move into the second phase on 6 points. Do join us after these messages for your bridge reports. Welcome back. It's now time for a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed on Friday, February 7 at 10:30 for a period of 1.5 hours. The Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Friday, February 7th at 9:35 for a period of 1.5 hours. That's your Thursday, February 6th edition of the Evening News. I'm Michael Young. Thanks very much for joining us. Do join us at 7 hours tomorrow morning for a look at the morning news with Samuel Suknandan. Goodbye.